Hello everybody, I'm your host Sanj. Welcome back to the Automation Kings. And in this video, I thought I'd build something based off a question that one of you asked me, okay? And somebody in the channel, I think it might be LinkedIn, basically sent me a message saying that, Sanj, how can I basically sell a service to a client that I run their Facebook ads, or I run their Meta ads, or Google ads, or whatever it is, right? And this got me thinking because I'm actually from an ads agency background, right? Initially, about 10, 12 years ago, I used to work for ad agencies, and my job was to run Google ads, Facebook ads, and then obviously once Instagram came up, I was running Instagram ads. Then I basically started my own agency where I was running Google, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, etc., etc. Okay, so I know the time it takes to run these campaigns. I know the time it takes to basically get ideas for campaigns, because a lot of my time was spent running and building campaigns for clients. Okay, and I used to work with a lot of e-commerce clients. So the best way to build a great campaign is to see what other people are running out there, like what's running on Facebook. So in this automation, I'll show you how you can scrape active ads on Facebook, on their ads library, how you can find them, how you can scrape them, and how you can use that data to then basically create your own competing campaigns and make them better. Okay, so this one uses multiple AI solutions, which is what I love the most. So strap yourselves in and let's get ahead and let's go and build this. So this automation has two parts, okay? The first part is going to use a Telegram trigger, and I've decided to use Telegram because it's a great way of branding and packaging this as a service, okay? Because with Telegram, it's super easy to create a bot, and I'll show you how to do that. But more importantly, you can sell this to any client in the world, right? You can give them access to the Telegram bot, and I actually think it's a great way of doing this, right? It shows your expertise, and more importantly, you can sell this as a service, okay? So I've created a quick Telegram bot called MetaSpy, and I'll show you that in a sec. And that basically plugs into an AI agent, okay? The AI agent will obviously use a language model, and then it will call a second subflow, okay, which is this Anytime workflow tool here. So this is what the subflow looks like. This is basically doing all the heavy lifting. And what this does is it will scrape the ads library using my personal favorite scraping tool, which is apify.com, and I'll show you what that looks like. And then it basically splits it out into two parts here. Is it an image or is it a video? Okay, because if it's an image, we can use the analyze image module inside of OpenAI, and that's fine. That's very straightforward, and then it will tell you the image. If it's a video, we're going to use something called Google AI Studio, okay? And at the time of me recording this, it's completely free to use, and it's just adding another tool to the arsenal. A lot of the times I do use OpenAI, but I'm always open to new ideas, to new suggestions and new tools, okay? And Google is throwing a lot of stuff against the walls, hoping to see if it sticks. But more importantly, a lot of the stuff that they provide is actually free, right? It's free to get started, okay? So what I'm gonna do, and what I am doing in this automation, is I'm basically uploading the downloaded video into Google AI Studio, and I'm asking it to give me a description to basically analyze the video, okay? And that's what these two kind of routes do here. And then eventually it'll merge all the fields, because then I have everything in one place. And then I've basically created a quick Google Sheet to upload all the details that I found inside of this automation. Okay, so that will give me the ad URL, give me the copy, it will give me the description. So I've used AI obviously for the image description and the video description, and also it will give me the page URL. Okay, and the whole point of this is that you can analyze any ads related to specific keywords. Okay, so you can type in any specific keyword into the Telegram bot, and I'll show you a quick demonstration of that shortly, and it will basically return all that for you. Okay, now I've left it at just the sheet, but if you wanted to, you can actually plug this into anything. Okay? You can send the information back to Telegram, back to the sales, the MetaSpy bot user, or you can put it into a Slack channel, or you can just email it back to a client. Imagine if you are selling this as a service for your agency, or like a productized service, then you can actually just email it back to them, or put it into Slack or whatever, right? You can create a Google Docs. It's entirely up to you how you do this. Okay, so before I get started, I'll show you a quick demo. I just want to discuss the quick requirements that we need. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is create a Telegram bot. If you want to do this method the way I'm doing it, okay, which I do recommend you do, because it's going to help you get out of your comfort zone, but more importantly, it shows like expertise, right? But you could do this in, say, the chat trigger, which is natively built inside of NA10, okay? Second thing you want to do is set up a Google AI Studio. Again, you could just use a Gmail account for this, and it's completely free. The third thing you want to do is sign up for Appify.com account. Now I pay for Appify because I love it. I use it for a lot of my automations and my client projects, but you can get started for $5, which is free. And the last step is just to get started and, scrape. I went ahead and ran the automation because it takes about 2 to 3 minutes for it to run end to end. But what I did was, if I head over to the Telegram bot, this is the bot that I created, it's called MetaSpy. And then basically I asked it to show me ads related to hair extensions. Okay, so this is the keyword that it's going to pass into the automation, which is the first part here. And then this agent will call the subflow, which is this one here. Okay, so it's gone ahead, done the entire automation end to end, and this is the output on the Google Sheet. Okay, so like I said at the start of this video, I'm just using a Google Sheet just so I can show you, right? But if I was doing this in operation for a client, then I would actually, put Slack into use. I would maybe use Google Sheets, I'd PDF it, and I'd even think about automating a report to the client. Okay, because if you don't know this, my background used to be Facebook ads. I used to run a lot of Facebook ads, Google ads. I did it initially for agencies, then I built my own agency. I spent, at least $100 million in like 12 years running these ads. Okay, so I know exactly what clients look for, but more importantly, I know how much a system like this, an automation like this, how much time it saves, right? Because I was doing this manually, right? Because when I was doing this from, I think, 2011 onwards, right, we didn't have AI, right? Facebook had just launched the ads platform, so there was no AI, there was not really much automations back then. I don't even think Zapier was around, or Make certainly wasn't around, right? Or NA10. So, it was a different world. But now you can automate most of this, and you can copy this for Google. I'm just showing you the meta side of things. Okay, so let's just dive right in and build this system. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to head over to Telegram and launch the bot folder. Now I go into more detail on a previous video where I show you how to set this up in more detail and show you exactly what you need to do. So I'm just going to whiz through this, but it's really not that hard. Actually, the Telegram API is much easier to set up than something like WhatsApp, for instance. Okay, so run the bot folder, and then they'll give you a bunch of prompts. Okay, the most important one you need is this one here, which is new bot. Okay, so /new bot. You can actually click on this link, or you can type it into the chat, and then it'll basically talk you through exactly what you need to do, right? So first thing you want to do is call your bot something, give it a name. So I gave it MetaSpy, and then you have to choose a username for it, right? Which is like a system name, but it has to end in bot. So it has to end in _bot. So I gave it TAK for the Automation Kings, _meta, _spy, _bot, which is fine. Once you're okay, it will give you a token, which is the API access, which is this code here. You copy this, and then that's it, you're done. Okay, so what you do then is head over to N8N. The first trigger is a Telegram trigger, so I'll show you which one that is. So head over to Telegram, and then at the bottom here, you want to find the on message, right? And that's what this one is. Okay, so then when you go inside of here, you're gonna have to set up a webhook. So click on this drop down and then create a new credential. Okay, rename this to whatever you want to call it, and then give it the access token, which you just copied from Telegram. And then the base API, the base URL is always going to stay the same, right? Save it. Once if it's worked, then it will show you green and it's connected. Okay, so I've already set this up as MetaSpy, and I do recommend you calling it whatever the bot's called, right? Because it's just easier for you to find it in the future. Okay, then without connecting it to anything, you just want to type something in. Okay, because then what that's going to do is that's going to pass this text field, okay, which is show me ads related to hair extensions. Okay, once you trigger that, then connect it up. So then wire it up to the AI agents, which is this module here with this node. So let me just find AI agent, which is this one here. Okay, and that's what this node is here. Okay, so go inside of here, and then what you want to do is you want to drag and drop this field into the prompt. Okay, so make sure this is set to define below. We're not connecting it to a chat trigger, which is why we did define it. And then you're basically just telling the agent to basically, pass the message that was sent into Telegram, which is this one here. Like I always say, if it's green, it's worked, and you can see it here. Show me ads related to hair extensions. So if I go back to MetaSpy, that's the message that I typed into the prompt here. Okay. And then you want to add a system message, okay? Because whenever you're doing anything with AI, you got to be very specific in the context, right? You tell it what you want it to do. You can't, at this stage, just allow the AI to just kind of go out there, use all your tools, use all your applications and, for it to know what you want to do, right? Because it can't read our minds yet, at least. So we have to give it some system prompts. Okay, so for this, I'm just going to open this up and I'm going to show you exactly what I put. So if you know me well, and if you've been watching this channel for some time now, I do tell you to basically spend a bit of time in the prompts, okay? Because the output, the quality of your output is going to be dependent on the quality of your input, okay? Garbage in, garbage out. So you are a marketing strategist and meta ads analyst. Your task is to review ad creatives and copy from the meta ads library using a specific keyword, okay? So the keyword is going to be passed from the AI agent, which is the first automation, and it's going to be sent over to the second automation, which is a subflow, okay? And then I've just told it to analyze the following areas. So ad copy insights, spot recurring hooks and attention grabbing openers, because if you know anything about ads, if you know anything about copy, sales writing, you know that clicks and hooks are really important, okay? Then you want to identify persuasive elements like urgency, emotional appeal, or social proof. Again, that's related to kind of copywriting basics and sales copy, okay? Observe CTA trends such as shop now or learn more. I think that's quite important for, certainly businesses like e-commerce brands, right? Like, does the shop now or learn more make a difference? And if I was to build a Shopify store or like an e-commerce business, then I'd certainly use shop now over learn more, right? Learn more just is quite casual, right? It's quite passive. Whereas shop now, at least in my opinion, is a lot more aggressive. As somebody who used to run ads for e-commerce brands, right? And then assess the tone of voice, including professional, hype-driven, or casual. To kind of skip most of this, I think you get the point. It's more about identifying the winning properties of each of these ads, right? And then you go down here to the bottom of this. Your ultimate goal is to uncover what makes high-performing meta ads work and translate those insights into clear, actionable marketing recommendations. Okay. And then that's about it for there. And then what you want to do next is you want to add a OpenAI chat model. I'm going to use OpenAI for this because I'm basically paying for OpenAI, but you could do this for free using one of the Meta Llama language models through OpenRouter. Okay, and I do discuss that in a previous video. But like I said, I'm paying for it, so I'm not really that bothered. But Fora Mini is completely fine for this. It does a great job and it's super cheap, right? Like I've said this before on a previous video, something like $5 in credit lasts me like 6 months when I'm just using Fora Mini, because it's crazy. And I'm using it all day, every day for at least, I would say 50 automations, right? So it's certainly one that you can get started with, but like I said, there are free options, okay? And for that, you just want to add an OpenAI here, and then you just connect it up to the chat model here, okay? Then next you want to do is click on memory, and then it will give you some options here. So if I delete that, let me just delete this, I'll show you. So you just want a simple memory, and you don't want the chat trigger, you want the key, which is going to be the update ID here. So you just need like a unique ID, right? Like a unique identifier. So I use the update ID for this because generally every text, you could probably use the chat ID as well. Every text has a unique identifier, okay? So that's what this simple memory needs. And this just means that it gives you context window. So when you are chatting to the bot inside of Telegram, it has a context window of 5, right? So that usually means about 10 interactions, right? So if you are doing something historical, like you want to have a chain and a conversation, then this is where you would set that up, okay? And then for the tools, you just want to click on, let me just show you. So you want to call the N8N workflow tool, okay? And then if I just come out of that and go inside of here, give it a name, so something like Meta Ad Scraper, which is what I've given it. And then for the description, I've just given it this, which is use this tool to extract data from the Meta Ads library based on a keyword filter. It will automatically compile the results into a Google Sheets for easy access, okay? Because I'm using Google Sheets. If you're using Slack or Google Docs or Gmail, then just put that in there, give it some context, okay? You could also give it the name of the Google Sheet, right? But in this case, I haven't done that because I've only got one tool that I'm using, which is the Google Sheets, right? But if I had multiple tools, then I would actually specify it and say the Google Sheet, and then with kind of like inverted commas, I'd put the name of the Google Sheet as well, okay? So there's no ambiguity. And then for the name, the source is database, and then from the workflow, it's going to be the second automation. Okay, and obviously I'll talk you through how to build that in a sec. So I've just given it the same name. It's the Meta Ads Analyzer Agent, but this is workflow 2 of 2. Okay, it has to be unique because otherwise it's going to trigger the same automation, which is this one here, Meta Ads Analyzer Agent 1 of 2, and you don't want that. It's going to cause problems. Okay. Let's go back into here. And then you want to add a keyword, okay? And I'll show you how to do that on the subflow, because the keyword that we're going to pass is hair extensions, right? And the agent has actually extracted that from the message that I sent in Telegram, which is what you wanted to do, right? You don't want it to be too granular where you're telling the agent exactly what to do, right? You want it to be, you want it to use its own potential, which is its own AI power, right? That's what we're doing. So let it just figure out what it needs to do. Okay, so it's passing a variable keyword, which is hair extensions, and it's gonna pass that to the second automation, which is the sub workflow. Okay, and everything else here, you know it's worked because it's got green ticks and you've got all the outputs here. Okay, so you can see here it's pulled in all the copy, the ad URL, the page URL, image description. This is going to come from the second workflow, which I'm using two different AI. One is the OpenAI ChatGPT analyze video, analyze image module, and the second one is the video analyzer through Google AI Studio, and I'll show you how to set that up. Okay, so that's the first part of the automation done. Let's head over to the second part, which is the sub workflow. For the second part of the automation, I'm going to hard code the URL, okay? And the reason for that is because I can show you, okay? But if you're running this as a production automation, then you just want to run it when it's executed by another workflow, okay? And if you click inside of this, it's gonna pass the keyword, okay, which is a string. So just make sure you define that as the field below. And this is just a module that you select from this nodes panel here, okay? So I can't show you because you can only run one at a time. But just remember that we are getting the keyword from the Telegram chat, right? That's what the first AI agent in the first workflow is going to do, okay? Then the second node that you want is the HTTP request, which is just this one here. I've used it many times on this channel. It's one of my favorite, probably most used, certainly one of the most used nodes, okay? And then just click on this, and then for the details, I'm gonna show you where you get this from, okay? But for the body, you want to set it to toggle this on. You want the body type to be JSON. The specified body is also JSON, and I'll show you where you get this code from. Okay, so head over to epify.com and then just sign up for a free account. They do give you $5 in free credit. So this automation, this scraper that I'm using for this automation is the Facebook ad scraper inside of the Epify platform. You can find it in the Epify store, just do a search for it. This one is crafted, I think it's created and maintained by Epify. Okay, so it's definitely one of the most reliable ones you can use. Okay, so the way to set this up is you need to head over to the ads library. So go to facebook.com/ads/library, and then just set it up how you want to see it. Okay, so for this example, I've done the United States. I've selected all ads, and then the keyword is going to be AI. Okay, then I've only done active ads because what's the point otherwise? I've selected English because I'm only concerned about English language ads, and then that's the filter that I've set up here. Okay, and then you can see here that there's more than 50,000+ results, and these are all the ads here. Okay, so I'm going to grab this, okay, and I'm going to paste it inside of this here. Okay, and the reason I'm showing you that is because I can't run the automation otherwise, because it's not passing the variable. Okay, but in this example you can see that I've taken out where it says Q equals, and I put in the keyword that's passed from the sub workflow, okay, which is this variable here is JSON.keyword. Okay, but if you wanted to hard code it, you could, and you just copy this URL and then you head over to Epify, you plug it into here, right, and then it will give you a hard coded JSON. Okay, so before you want to do that, you just want to set up the results amount. So I've done 10 because I'm recording a video. I want the automation to run quickly, but if you were doing this for an agency, for a client, you want to scrape as many results as you possibly can, right? Certainly, you should be looking at least 1,000. And then status is only active. I've set it inside of the ads library as well, but just to be safe, I've toggled it on here. You also want to toggle this one on where it says scrape ad details. Okay, so you want basically all the data that's available, the metadata from the ads. You want to scrape all of that as much as possible. Okay, then the maximum charge results, again, I put 10. You will just put in whatever value you want in there. Okay, then when that's done, you basically go to the JSON tab here and then you copy this. Right, and this is the JSON code that you use inside of the HTTP request. So it's the same as this. right? So I'm going to copy this because I've taken off, I'm going to hard code it. And you can see that here now where it says Q equals, it's now AI, okay? So if I were to run this now, I can test a step, right? So it's now going to run the scrape inside of Apify. You can see that if you go inside of Apify, head over to runs, you saw that it went from 11 to 12, and it's actually running the scraper now in the background. So you can see it's started the crawler. It's going to finish once it's done 10 results, okay? And then you should see finished, it's succeeded, it's got 10 results or 12 results or whatever. It's set to, I don't know why it's picking up 12. It should only be 10, but I'll look into that. Yeah, it's pulling in, I think it's looking at 2 pages, right? Because I think it's maybe less than 10 pages, 10 results per page or something like that. But you can see the results here have been scraped. If I go back into here, you can see the output, and I can show you, right? So I can show you the output. But just remember that this value here where it says Q equals, you want to replace that with the keyword here. It's only null because I'm around. You can't really do it in NA10, right? Like, although the automation works, it doesn't really show you any outputs for the second part, the subflow, okay? That's why I've done it like this, just to show you. And again, rename this to whatever you want it to be. And then the last thing you want to do is you want to select the method to be post, and the URL is from here. So if I go back to the actor, go to where it says API, drop down, click on API endpoints, and then you want to find the one that says run actor synchronously and get dataset items, okay? Just copy this, and it's basically this. The base URL is always the same, right? Which is usually just this, right? Up to this point. And then where it's got that squiggly, whatever this is the name of the scraper, and then it's the dataset items, run dataset items, which is the same command. And then they add your API key on the end, okay? So Apify, I've made it really simple. You just copy and paste this, and you paste it here, okay? And that's about it, right? You know it's worked because you've got an output. I've got 10 items as well. If you want to see the individual items, just click on table view, and I just show you exactly what it's kind of pulled over, okay? But I just keep it on schema because it's easier for me to find the variables that I need, right, later down the automation, okay? So the next node that I've added is a switch node. So just head over to the nodes panel, look for switch, which is this one here. And then I'm going to go inside of here to show you how I set this up, okay? So what I've done is basically I've set it up to basically specify image or video, okay? It's just a bunch of rules. So the first rule is if it's the original image URL, if it exists, then the output should be image, okay? If the snapshot is videos, which is the video HD URL, which is, if I just go into a search and just type in video, you'll see it here, okay? The reason the image one hasn't come up is because I don't think there is any images, so I need to run it again. So you just have to remember that it has to, the search result, whatever you've done inside of here, has to return image and video, okay? And they're not always videos, right? So you can see here, the first few, I mean, they're just images, right? Like these are carousels, but it's still images, right? I think these are videos now. So if I went past like the 10, you know, the 10 search results in the scraper, then I'd get to all this, right? So that's what you need to know, right? It just doesn't exist. It probably doesn't exist, but yeah, hasn't scraped it in this. Or maybe I just need to run it again, which is fine. Okay, it does have it. So image URL, which is this one here. So I can just remap this one, just copy and paste that. If it's green, you know it's worked. If it's undefined, it probably hasn't found anything. So yeah, that's fine. I can run that again and it's okay. Okay, so the second one is for the same variable, but it's now video HD URL. And again, you want a string, which is this one here, right? String and then exists. Okay, that's what these variables are set to, string exists. And if it does, then it just rename the output, and I've just done it to video. Okay, and that's it. And just rename it there. Test it. So if I test a step, it should come up with video. So 5 images, 3 videos. So I'm not sure why that's red actually, because it is working. You've got 5 images, 3 videos, which is fine. That's it there. And so now if I zoom in, you'll see exactly what's happened. So you see here, it's now split off 5 items to the first part of the automation, and then 3 items to the bottom half. Okay, so let's build the first part. So if it is an image, it will come out to this part of the automation. And so I've created a set node, which is this one here. So edit fields, and then I've called it get image. And then if I just go inside of here, you'll see what this is done, right? So I've basically manually mapped 4 fields. The first one is add URL, the second one is copy, third one is image URL, the fourth one is page URL, okay? And the reason for that is because these are the fields that I'm getting on the Google Sheets here, okay? It's basically just the same as this. Image, video, description, I'll show you why I had to do that. There is a slight quirk in NA10, but I'll explain that later. So heading back over here, call it add URL, it's gonna be a string, and if it equals this first part, you have to put in manually, right? Because it won't give you the URL here, right? So just put in the first part, which is facebook.com/ads/library/ and then it's a question mark, ID equals, and the second part you can just get from a mapped field here, which is the archive ID, okay? So from the previous one, it should be this module here, right? Which is, and then you see it's worked because it's green, right? The second one is going to be the copy, which is a string. So if I head over to cards, right? So just if you're not sure which variable it is because you've used a slightly different scraper, that's fine. You can go ahead and do that. Just find whichever variable corresponds to the copy, right? What you see on the ad. So basically this stuff here, right? This is the body of or the copy of the ad. All this. That's what you're looking for, right? Inside of here. So sometimes the variable names could be different depending on what scraper you're using, but just know that you're looking for something like this, right? And so for me, it's just going to be the cards variable, which is what I've copied over here, which is the body, right? Which is this one here. And you should see it here. I want to put more car jobs, etc., etc. It's bringing up car jobs because that's what I was using when testing, but whatever you put into Telegram, it's going to pull that over, okay? Then the image URL is the same, so it's going to be original image URL, which is this one here. And remember, that's a string. I've called it image URL, but you can call it whatever variable name you want. The next one is, and the last one is now page URL. So this is going to be page profile URL here. Okay, just copy and paste that or drag it over here. Once you've seen it as green and you see the page URL here, sometimes they'll have the page name, sometimes they'll have the string, the ID. Doesn't really matter as long as it's green, okay? And you can see here, this is what it's scraped over. Okay, so just test this step. Just make sure that it's running and it has. If you want to see individual ones, you can go to a table. Like I said, I always leave that schema. And that one's just set up. Just remember to rename it, okay? The next step is to analyze the image, because now we have the image. Now we can use AI. We can use specifically OpenAI. So if you head over to the nodes panel, just type in OpenAI, which is this one here. And then you want to find the action that says analyze image. Okay, and that's what this one is. I've renamed it to analyze image. Connect it up to your OpenAI account. The image resource, the resource is image. The operation is analyze image. Obviously, the model I've used for this is 4 mini, and it does a great job. Okay, I've seen the out. You know, if you look at the outputs for here, it's fine. Like it's done a pretty decent job, right, in terms of what you want. If you want to test out a higher model, then certainly by all means do that. It's just going to use more tokens, so it's going to cost you more, right? So just bear that in mind. And then for the text input, I put describe the image in 50 words or less, emphasize design headlines and the message. Okay, I think that's all of it. Yeah. So basically, I don't want to spend too much time on analyzing the image, but I want to spend enough time to make sure that it's got enough details, right? The input type is obviously going to be image URL, and then for this, you just grab it from here, from the previous node, which is get image, and it's just the image URL field, which is going to have this long URL here, okay, which is for that specific image, which is saved on Meta's cloud, and that's what this all is here, okay? And then the simplify output, we just leave it as it is, and then let's just test a step, just to make sure that it's working. It'll take a few seconds, and I'll leave that running, okay? So let's head over to this side, and then we're gonna need another set node here. So again, just go over to the nodes panel, just type in set, which is this edit fields here, and then let's just go inside of here to show you what this is. So again, it's gonna be manual mapping, and again, it's gonna be, so this is done now, so you've got all the output here. So for this, we need the same I mean, you could probably just copy and paste this one. I'm just gonna show you how to do this. So again, you want the add URL, okay, which is a string, and this is going to be the get image add URL, okay, which is this one here. You just copy and drag that over here. For the copy, it's going to be the same, so just drag and move this one over here. You know it's green, so it's work. Description is going to be the content here from analyze image, so drag and drop that over here. And then for the page URL, it's this one here from the get image node. Just drag and drop that over here. So let's test this step, make sure it's working. And there you go, it's worked. Again, table will show you all 5 items. Schema will just show you the top level for 1 item, okay? And then remember to save that, okay? So that's done. And then now we're gonna go over to this side. So you could just copy this and duplicate it. It's in a set node, so let's have a look inside of here. So now we're gonna get the add URL is going to be the same. It's going to be the archive ID. Okay, and you can find that inside of here. Copy is going to be the same, the body text. So again, just find the variable that's related to the copy, which is this one here, okay? The add copy. The video URL, it should be videos URL. So you can do a search for that to find it, which is this one here, videos URL. And just drag that one over. These are all strings, by the way, okay? And then the page URL is the same. So it's just a page profile URL. But again, you can just copy and duplicate the previous node, right? With the image one, just rename it get video instead of get image. And then, yeah, just test the step just to make sure it's worked, okay? It's worked, it's got 3 items, got 3 videos, that's fine, that's great. And then the next thing, now that we have the video, we want to download the video, okay? So it's another HTTP request. So just jog your memory, it's this one here, okay? And then let's just head over inside of here and show you what needs to be done. Okay, so this is a get method because we already have it, right? It's already inside of our end-to-end workflow. So we don't need any headers or bodies or anything like that, as you can see here. And then all you want to do is from the get video, you just want to drag and drop the URL, right? Video URL, which is this one here. So if I test a step, you'll see that it'll run pretty quickly because it's already inside of end-to-end. And you can see it here. So I just click on this. This is the video from that ad, okay? And you've got the other ones as well. So if I go back to the list, you can view all the 3 other videos as well, okay? And just remember to call it something. I've called it download video for this, okay? The next module is going to be another HTTP request. And this time we're gonna upload the video into Gemini, right? And the reason for that is because we're gonna use Gemini, which is inside of Google AI Studio, to basically prompt it to tell us what this video is about. Like, you know, what's the text, what's the style, design, etc., okay? So now this is a post method, and then the URL for this is going to be this here. So it's generative-language.googleapis.com/upload, and then this is a string here up to this point here, okay? Up to the equals, and then this is my API key. Like I said, you're going to steal this. Google AI Studio is completely free at the time of me recording this, so head over to Google AI Studio if you've never signed up. It's this here. It's basically just using Google Gemini to do the prompting and, you know, to obviously, you know, give us the outputs here. So to get the API key, just head over to where it says get API key, and you can create one here. So if you haven't done so already, go into your Google Cloud account. You should have done, because I've created a lot of videos on this channel that uses the Google Cloud. And you can basically select one of your projects. So for this, I've just created a Gemini API, and you need to basically, it's like a container that you need to put it into, right? And then it'll basically generate a key. Just copy the key here, which is one of these values here, and then you paste it here. Generally starts with a capital A, that's what I've seen, and you just paste it here, okay? And then if you test a step, it will then upload it into Gemini if it's worked. Has. So there you go. You can see now that it's processing, okay? So I don't know how long it takes. Usually anywhere between 30 seconds to a minute is usually enough time. So the next node that you need is a wait node, okay? So that's just to factor in the time it takes to process this request, okay? And for the settings, I think I've set it to like 30 seconds. If I was going to production, I'd probably set this up to something like a minute. But yeah, 30 seconds seems to be fine for this because I'm talking over and there is a bit of extra time on top of that, right? But if I was running this like overnight or something, I would probably just leave it as a minute. But let's just run that. So it's working in the background. And the next thing, now we have the video, we've uploaded it to Gemini. We want to analyze the video, right? We want to send a prompt over to Gemini inside Google AI Studio and tell it to prompt it, okay? So now this is going to be another HTTP request. And so let's just open this up. It's going to be a post. And then for the URL, it's this one here. Okay, so we're going to use Gemini 2.0 Flash, which is free, like I said, at the time of me recording this video. And then again, you want all of this up to this point is going to be the same. And then this is going to be your API key. Okay. So wait for processing is done. And then what we're going to do now is we want to set up some headers. Okay. So make sure you toggle this on. Remember to rename it. I've called it Analyze Video. And then we're going to use some fields below. Okay. So the first one is content-type. And bear in mind and pay attention to the capitalization because this is very important. It's going to work otherwise. And the value is application-JSON. Okay. Then you want to toggle send body. For this, you want to use JSON as a body type, and the body is going to be JSON. And then for the value, it's going to be this here. Okay. So this is just code that we need to trigger Gemini using the API. Okay. And for the file URI is just this one here. It's just a map field. And for the MIME type, it's just a map from this here. Okay. And then the prompt, this is probably the most important thing here. You might want to kind of configure this to your own specifications or whatever the output is going to be. For this demonstration on this video here, I've just set it to basically describe this video, include what you see, and the transcription of what's been said, if it's a speaking video, right? Be as detailed as possible. It's very important for me. Do not output anything other than the transcription. So I don't want any guff. I don't want any opinions from the language model itself. I just want the output, right? And then these are just kind of settings for the AI, right? So all language models have temperature, and these are the bits and pieces here. I mean, the most important thing here is just temperature. Play around with this, right? So try 0.8, 0.5, 0.2, whatever. See what gives you the best results. I've just left it at 1, which is the default, I think. And let's test this step. So we're just gonna come out of this. It shouldn't take too long because there's only 3 videos. But let's see. Okay, so it's pretty quick. Again, you can see here. Let's go with the schema, show you what the output's going to be. And yeah, the text is, we help detailers boost profits by blah, 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 and then that's all there. Okay, so that's worked. And then let's grab the video description, right? Which is the same as the image description. So you can copy, duplicate this and paste it down here, connect it up. So for this one, it's the same, right? Add URL. The only thing here is the description now, right? So that's going to come from the content parts here, okay? Because now we're using an analyzed video. We're using Gemini as opposed to OpenAI, which is what we used for the video, the image description, okay? Everything else is the same. Test the step, see if it's worked. And you have it here, okay? And then the last thing you need to do is you need to merge everything before we can save it onto the Google Sheet, okay? And that's why if you go back, I've kept them both the same as description, right? Ideally what I would rename this to is image description, and this one will be video description, right? But you cannot merge the fields together. You have to have different names, okay? That's why I've kept that description. And so you just need a merge node. So head over to the nodes panel, select merge, which is this one here. And what you want is append, and the number of inputs is 2 because we've got image and video, okay? So test step, this was pretty straightforward. It's not much to it. It's gonna trigger the previous ones, but that's fine. That's okay. And then the next node you want, so while that's running in the background, it's gonna trigger the 2 roots here, which is fine. And then what you wanna do is, you want a Google Sheets. So it's done it a lot faster than I thought it would. Okay, so here you go. This is it all here. And you can see here that it's got the description from the image, from the OpenAI Analyze Image node, right? So image features a robot in a business setting. So again, pretty smart. So the next thing you want to do is you want a Google Sheets node, and this is an append row. Okay, so the way to get that, head over to the panel. Let's type in Google Sheets. And you want to update row, And you can change it here, right? It's append row. That's what you're gonna do, okay? So I'm gonna delete this one because I already have it. Just send this one to trash, and then go inside of here. So you wanna select append row as the operation, and then from the list, select your Google Sheet, which is this one here. All right, I'll probably include a description of it below in the video, so you can just, file and make a copy. Okay, save you a bit of time. And then you wanna basically map each column manually. Okay, so for the add URL, you just grab this one, move it over. Copy is this one. Image video description is description. So I've labeled that as image video description in the Google Sheet, but the actual variable name is only description, right? And then for the page URL, you just grab this one here. That's it. Test step, and make sure it's worked. And just execute the node, and there you go. It's all there, okay? So that's what's gonna add to this sheet here, right? It's called an update sheet for a reason, okay? And then the last thing you want to do is a merge fields, right? And the reason for this is that the way NA10 works is that it will only read the last value of the sheet, right? Which is this one here, okay? But what we wanted to do is read everything on this sheet, okay? So what I've done is I've created a code node. So head over to the panel, find the code node, which is this one here. And then for the code, it's basically run once for all items, which is what we wanted to do, right? Because we've got multiple results, right? And then basically, let me open this up so you can see it. So basically it says combine all items from the previous node into a single item containing an array of all their JSON data. And that's what this code does here. It's just a very basic JSON, right? It does exactly what it says here, okay? And just copy and paste this here. And so this collects each item's JSON and stores it into an array. That's what we're doing, right? We're merging it. Call it merge fields. Let's test the step to see if it's worked. And there you go, that's it. So again, table, you can see all better kind of view. I personally like schema because I think it's just more tidy, but each their own, I guess. Okay, so that's basically it, right? That's the automation in a nutshell. Let me just save this. I don't know why it's changed, but this is it, right? So to kind of recap, right, we've created the Telegram bot. Well, I've shown you how to do that. We've created Google AI Studio and show you how to get the API key. Sign up for Apify.com account and showed you how to get the API key and how to set up the JSON to trigger that inside of NA10. And yeah, we've scraped a couple of times. So there's a few, I don't know, 20 something results in here, right? Yeah, 22 results. So yeah, it's got everything that you need. Okay, so just finally, just remember that when you're building this, you probably just want a chat or just a manual trigger, right? Because it's not going to pass it otherwise, right? The keyword. And for this one here, let me just change this to, let me get rid of this, and I'll change it to keyword, just show you what that looks like. And then there you go. This is what it means. So it's basically a dynamic automation now. Whatever keyword you type in or your client types into Telegram, it will then go into Apify and scrape the ads related to that keyword, okay? So that's it. Thank you if you made it this far into the video. I really appreciate everybody's support. Make sure you like this and give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed the content. But more importantly, please subscribe to the channel. The more subscribers I have, the more people I can reach and the algorithm gets more optimized, and I think you kind of know the drill, okay? One other thing I want to say to you is turn your notifications on as well, because that will show you every time, or your mobile device, YouTube on your mobile or your desktop will notify you whenever I've dropped a new video, okay? So thanks again for watching. I really do appreciate support and all your kind feedback, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.